Gorgeous.
Oh,
Are
well,
we
thank
recording?
you.
Yes.
You just
Hi.
responding to all the people saying congratulations?
Carson and
You've
Carolyn
been-
are texting me, but I don't know if I can say what I know.
Let's talk about you. You were on what turned out to be an iconic tribe, Tika. What were your first impressions building those relationships in the early days?
When we got on the boat, I was like, oh, we're compared to the other physicality of the other tribes. So in my head, I was like, Helen, Sarah, and Carson are gonna work together. I'm gonna have to work with Bruce and Carolyn because that's how it looks, you know. And then when Bruce had to leave, I was like down. I was so down. I was like, that was gonna be my guy. He's so strong, blah blah blah. But I had connected with Carolyn right away. Like Carolyn and I are like, we understand each other. So I knew I could work with her, and then I needed Carson, and thankfully Carson and I were able to split from the tribe, so I was able to talk to him, and the way we connected right away felt very, very real. Had it been a bigger tribe, I would probably work with Sarah and Helen too, but at a tribe of 5 people, it's nothing against Sarah or Helen. It's just that it's numbers, so it is what it
It's
is.
so hard with the three tribes set up in the beginning. When Carolyn worked with Josh, though, and blindsided you with the Sarah vote out, how did that sort of redirect your game?
That's when I knew that I was playing new era Survivor, new school Survivor. Like that's when I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, like this is on now. Okay, perfect. Is this what we're doing? Is this what we're doing? Like we love each other, but we're not working together. Then it definitely lighted a fire on us under my butt. I was like, well, I need to play. And this is why I think the Tika did so well at Merge because we were playing Survivor and they were hanging out at the beach. And when we got there with another mentality of this is okay, you're having fun, we're having fun, and everybody thinks we're having more fun than anyone, and we're like not 100% there, but we were on.
Speaking of merge, I mean, all of a sudden your name is being thrown out and you're sort of having to play to scramble to the top. How was that part of the game for you?
It was so hard because they only saw like this easy vote, right? Which was my name. Oh, he's already in the outs with Josh, he's already in the outs with Carolyn. But it was so important for me to connect with other people that didn't know who I was. Lauren, Jamie, Brandon, Heidi. And I made a big effort in getting to know them really like personal and be sure to have those connections and know their motivations and not what they love, what they didn't love, who was their family. Because I knew I have it in me to get into people. Like I want them to see me as Jam Jam, my friend that I can work with. I didn't want them to see me as this Tika person that I don't need.
Yeah, you seemed like you charmed them every single time. They'd write your name down and you'd make them laugh the next day. And like no one was really gonna actually vote you out, was the vibe.
I was like, don't worry, guys, it's okay. It's okay, but it's not okay, you know? And the fact that I make them feel comfortable about it was 100% on purpose. Because I wanted them to shift the focus on another person and say, you know, Jalan is fun. Like, we have no food, we have no shelter, we have nothing. We just have laughs, stories, hanging out. So I wanted to be that person. I didn't want to be bitter about it. Nobody wants to live with somebody bitter. Right.
And then people just didn't realize until it was too late that there was a curse. If they wrote your name down, they were leaving.
Oh my God, it was so exciting. It was so exciting. Because for the Kane vote, everybody wanted Lauren out. Because Lauren was a big threat in my head. But it was like, but I want Kane out. Like, it's okay. He's gonna leave some, but let's do it now. Because he told me at the non-merge when we were in that big ball challenge thing, he told me, if you don't have the votes, then I'm not voting with you. And it was like very early on, like, he's awesome, he's cool, he's great. He's not working with me and he doesn't want to work with me, to the point that he's telling me, why you told me? Why you told me you were not want to work with me? So when that opportunity came, I had to take into account that he wrote my name down to protect himself. And I'm like, I don't want that to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Now you won one of the craziest, wildest challenges, Last Gasp. What the heck was the key to this?
I'm very comfortable in water. I really don't get freaked out by water. I get freaked out by heights and other stuff. Just zoning everything out. The biggest thing was like everybody waited to get to the water was here to get ready to get to the crate and do the snorkel. I was getting in the water when we still had space. The water was super cold. I was moving, getting warm, everything. But I also was getting used to the nut sound with the ears, practicing, doing my snorkel. And I swallow a lot of water. Like whenever I couldn't blow the water, I would just swallow it so I could breathe.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, congratulations on that. It seems torturous.
It is torture, but it was cool. It was cool. I could have done it.
Oh, wow. At one point, you became a macaroon spokesperson. What is, and I don't know that I've ever even thought about macaroons like this, but what is the key here to a perfect macaroon?
It needs to be fresh. You know, nobody wants to eat an old macaroon. And I don't like fruity macaroons. I like Nutella, chocolate, like, you know, almond macaroons. It needs to like be like super crispy, like around it, and then like oh, and the little cream, but it needs to be fresh, like more than 2 days old macaroon. Don't work. They were amazing. They were amazing. It's like they took macaroons to Survivor. I was like, who brought macaroons? I was like, where? I don't know. They that was great.
Let's talk about this final tribal. I can't even imagine preparing for this type of moment where you have to explain your game, especially when Tika was underestimated for most of the game. What was your strategy going in, and how did you feel you were doing?
For the final tribal council, what really fired me up was Heidi's win with the fire making. You saw the jury reaction. They were jumping. They were like, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? We're done. She won. That's it. We're done. So what I did was I went back to camp and I was like trying to remember where I was in every vote, who I was talking to, what was my motivation, why I did what I did, so I could like tell my story for them to understand. And we were so exhausted at the final tribal council. I mean, they edited it in a way that it looks like we all had like an amazing tribal council. That's not how it felt. In a game where you just have relationships and you don't have things, I made sure that each of the jury member remember why we talk about it. Explain why I did that, why I told you this, when I knew this, and you didn't know I knew it.
Did you have to really argue or convince that it wasn't Carson leading the way, that you had a big part in all of those votes?
Yes, like that was the impression. Like the first thing they did when they got to the jury, like they started was like, they want us to justify what happened and what was the perception. That was like the word of the night. And I knew the perception was like Carson was the thing, but that was my whole thing. I was like, I want Carson to be the leader. Yes, we worked together, but my relationship with all of them was so sincere. It was never dependent on what Carson said or did or wanted. It was also me that was there, and they knew that.
When you discussed getting Carolyn out, were you really wanting to do that and Carson kind of held you back, or was it just debating options?
I don't think anybody understood Carolyn like I understood Carolyn. So I saw her threat level, and honestly thought she was gonna have a final tribal council that was gonna be amazing because everything was a cover, and she
Mhm.
was like gonna break out of the box and be like this amazing, say why she did what she did and why she reacted like she reacted. And I was afraid of her doing that. When I said I wanted Caroline out, I wanted her out, but I needed Carson to be with me because had I not had Carson to get Caroline out, then Carson then would have gone like, well, I didn't do this with Jam Jam, so I'm gonna go with the girls and tell her like take out Jam Jam. So without his support to get such an important part of the three of us, I couldn't have done it because it would have backfired.
Was there a moment when the votes were happening, the final votes, that you felt a shift? Did you feel like you might have gotten this win?
When they stopped asking us questions, as soon as they started going up the stairs, I knew. Like I
Mhm.
knew inside myself. So it was like because their body language changed.
Mhm.
I was also so relaxed, like, oh my God, this is over. I'm happy. But it's like tense, like you're like
I know, I can't imagine. If you could sum up this entire experience with one word, what would it be?
I feel thankful for it. That would be the word that I like the first thing I think about it. But as a player, I feel so empowered by everything that happened over there.
Well, it was so much fun to watch you and the Tika 3, and I really thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much.